Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Day 7 of the 30-day challenge. If you're listening to the audio, if you're getting these videos and you're not doing the 30-day challenge, just think yourself lucky you're doing a revision. So today we're talking about the 4 key learnings from day 4, which is blink. I think you could summarize it in the word blink. Blink is a book written by a guy called Gladwell, and it's all about the fact that when you blink at a person you're meeting, you get an impression, and that impression, blink, is the impression that really sticks, and it's hard to unstick. So what you wear on the outside becomes really critical for the blink factor. And if you don't want to make extra work for yourself, it's wise to present yourself in a way that makes people blink in the right direction that you would like them to blink in, which is that you're going to be either a great consultant for them or a wise advisor, or sell them a good vacuum cleaner, or whatever the job you have. So blink is really important, and that comes down to clothing. The second part of this process is to realize what you wear under your clothing is your own blink. So when you blink at yourself, when you wake up in the morning and you go, oh my God, I've put on weight, or oh my gosh, I'll just throw a dirty old pair of undies on that I've had in the cupboard for weeks. I was saving them for doing the gardening, but I ran out of undies, so I'll just... What you put on underneath, the socks you wear, the underwear, the clothing you wear beneath the things that people blink at, is your own blink. And if you're blinking at yourself going, it doesn't matter, well, it's not necessarily the wisest place to start thinking about yourself as a successful, powerful leader in the world. It may be a place where you start trying to diminish yourself. So if you want to be treated well by others, treat yourself well and make sure that what goes on underneath the blink surface is adequate for your own perception of yourself. The third aspect of blink is the environment you're in. If you look behind me here, you'll see Buddhist tanka, some Buddhist statues even on the desk. If you can see into my bookshelf there, it's pretty clean, but it has a few things that are important to me. Right behind this camera that I'm looking at right now that you can't see is a painting of Amadablam, a mountain that I love in the Himalayas. So I've got an environment around me that is really, really conducive to sharing the work of the inspired spirit, which is what I do. And so I think we all need to take account for the environment we're in. If you're working in the garage and you haven't lined the garage, you haven't made the garage look really sweet and feel inspired, you haven't put posters up, you haven't put a tanka or whatever you love to have around you that reminds you of the spirit. If you don't have a plant, as you can see, there's one there against the wall. And I love having indoor plants in my office. I think it's a really important part of bringing nature and inspiration and love into the work you do. So your environment becomes another blink. It becomes your blink as to how you're going to perceive the world around you. This can include going for walks, and that's why we include in your 30-day challenge a gratitude walk every morning for 10 minutes now, or 30 minutes even. Now, this is not exercise. This is meant to be you going out there and observing and getting immersed in and connecting to nature. That's a very, very important part, a critical part, in fact, of your environment, because in the Tibetan and the Buddhist system, they believe that if you can capture some of that in the morning, it'll trickle through the entirety of your day. And A.O. Wilson, I think his name is, who invented the word biophilia, wrote many books about this concept of immersion in nature, forest bathing, I think they call it in Japan, which means just going for a walk and bathing and basking in the beauty of nature. And that's an important part for your leadership, because if you're working your ass off and every day trying to get things right and do things right, but you've disconnected yourself from nature, it's very likely that there's a void growing between who you are and what you're doing and what you're saying and what you're delivering. And that void is the place where most people fall into with immune problems and health problems and family problems and child problems, because they've lost touch with their spirit, their human sense of being a human being. So lastly, we declutter, which means to create an environment around ourselves which has in a relative sense, clean lines. Now that means when you open a cupboard, it's not stuffed with jumpers, or if you open a drawer, it's not stuffed with undies. If you open your filing cabinet, it's not stuffed with files. If you open your computer, it's not stuffed with photos and stuff. It's organized into folders, it's organized into shapes. And the purpose of this is to put order amongst the chaos of life. The more things that are ordered, if you open the trunk of somebody's car and you look in there and there's jackets and there's old blankets and there's bottles and God knows what, and things from the last camping trip still rolling around, that person's mind is pretty much reflected in the trunk of their car. So your mind is pretty much reflected in the way you organize your kitchen, the way you organize your office desk, your files, and the things around you, your bookshelves. So, and just mentioning while I do bookshelves, look on your bookshelf and see what you've read and what you don't need to have there anymore. If you've gone through an alcohol recovery process, and there's all books on alcohol recovery, they may no longer be serving you to be things that you blink at as you walk past them as you're on the way to the kitchen. So make sure that the things that are hanging on the walls, the things that are cluttering or decluttering your desk, make sure that the garage is beautifully hung up and everything's organized. That creates an organized mind, and that organized mind is what creates success. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.